Test, test. Test, test. What is up? Hello. I am a real human. Do, 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 do. So I'm going to be doing a kind of a tutorial, something like that. And this is live, so I'm going to probably edit it down later so people can just watch the important bits. So I'm probably just going to ramble my way through it. But I'm going to be showing how we get this guy into Marmoset and do some texturing. Alright, right now. I'm just looking for some references for materials. So like this, I was looking at the Death Stranding, like these different materials and how it's like a really cool color scheme. But there's like some, it's like metal, but then you've got this like plastic, but it almost feels like this. You have this like welded piece, this welded like kind of material in with metal and plastic. It's kind of nice, but I think the color scheme's just nice. So I'm trying to find stuff kind of in the same vein, and I'm going to do a pass, like a texture pass on top of this. And this was the old version, which I did like a long time ago. But you got this one, which I did just in Zbrush, just like rendering passes and then comping it in Photoshop. But I think I just need a few more references of this samurai dude. Something that we can kind of go off. And they have this like mix of materials inside, like translucent materials. But I don't think we'll do that. I think we'll just keep it simple. But I think something like, yeah, like this kind of metal, where it's got like broken up bits. Simple color scheme. So I'll try and explain it as I go. And so what I usually do is like when I have, like this is an old model, but basically when you kind of have your asset kind of done, I won't be going over like the sculpting, but I'll just kind of run through how I generate the mesh, because this is all split into separate pieces right now. So you've got like this bit, which is a separate piece, this bit, which is a separate piece. It's all kind of split, and we're going to want to like merge it, bring it together, then generate like a new low poly, and then we'll create some UVs. And really the idea is that we're just looking to create something quick that we can get some nice bakes on, and then just do some interesting materials. Actually, this guy's facing backwards. He's like completely the wrong way. So we'll fix that as well. And then the scale, we'll fix that, because the materials in Marmoset, they want you to be at the right scale, because if we do some materials like these, which are like this rubber, or we want to do something that's semi-translucent or with some scattering or something, the scale is going to affect that. So that's why I usually do it at the end, but if you can fix your scene earlier, that's obviously better. But I just think this is so cool, this Death Stranding. Hence the hoodie. But yeah, they have these like translucent materials here, which is pretty interesting. But I am not going to go that far. I'd have to create like some other meshes inside it, and the design of this isn't like that great, to be honest. But I'm gonna first off just gonna create like a new topology, try and get this all as one mesh. I don't know whether to keep the base separate, because I think that's just going to take up UV space, putting that base on. So I think I'll actually just keep that, and I won't even bother UVing it or anything. I'll probably just divide it up slightly, just so it's nice and smooth. And just keep it as is. Just go to the subtool and delete, go to geometry and delete those levels. And then just to make kind of Marmoset's life easier, just decimate it. So I'll pre-process it. Also, if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer. So we'll just wait for that to finish processing. Then once it's processed, it's actually kind of interesting because you can, as probably everyone knows this, but you can kind of keep testing it. Because sometimes when you do like the first one, it's kind of like, you could probably go lower basically, but you don't have to reprocess it, you can just go down and do it again. So even there, it's like still pretty good. So you can go even lower. Let's try 50k. Something maybe lower. Maybe 25. I think that's probably fine. Marmoset can handle a lot, so I'm just going to keep that as is, but I'll probably still UV it and put some materials on, because then I can put some kind of metal on or something. It's better to have some UVs just to play with, and I'm probably not even going to bake it. I'm just going to put UVs on it. That's what I usually do if you get your piece. And I'll just create like polygroups for that at the bottom. So I'll just mask it, so control, left click and drag. And hopefully it'll let me kind of control W and just add polygroup. So I got that as a group then. And then just do the same at the top. Control W, another group. And just with the groups, like with this group, this one, if we put like double on, we can see it a little bit better. So display properties double, you can see the bank now, and we could probably just optimize it slightly. Just add like another there. So now we've got like a couple of groups. That one is a little bit messy. Try and like get rid of it. Just hide that. Then hide the bottom sides. Just do that one again. Would have been actually a bit cleaner just to do it the other way, but it doesn't really matter that much, because like Marmoset will just be able to like blend those, and we'll do some like try projection, and it will just like not even be visible. And the whole process is pretty nice because it's just like we don't really care about the meshes too much. We just want to kind of get something in Marmoset that's baked, so we can just start playing with the materials. And you could probably go deeper, but I usually time myself, so when I'm doing it, I'm just like keeping it really simple, because I only usually have like 2 hours or 3 hours or something at night just to play. So now we've got the base. I'll just rename that something meaningful, and we'll hide that. So now with this, I'll probably do I could just do it as one big mesh, but I'm probably not going to, because there's lots of like these fine details. So if I can do this body as one and the head of another material bake, I'll probably just get better resolution then. And I won't need to do like 8K bakes or something. So what I'll do is just kind of get all these pieces hidden on the head. Oh man, there's so many bits. It made my life really hard. And it's funny actually doing this because I didn't really know that you could do it this way. You know, like kind of baking materials, like doing some quick bakes and stuff like that. I didn't realize you could do this until I just kind of did it by accident. So I'm just doing it like kind of just old school. Just alt click and then find it and hide it. And then what we can do here is just do merge visible. That will be the easiest way. So now we've got like as a separate piece. And we can probably use Subtool Master. Invert visible. So now got the head, merge visible. Actually, I might just merge the head into a new scene. Then go back and get the base. And just bring that in. Sweet. So now we've got just like our three objects. It's getting a bit slow now. So yeah, we've got the head. And we have the body. And I'm going to save this before it crashes. Like that. So now yeah, we've just got this. We can start to like process these. So yeah, I just get like the head, and it's great that it has all the groups actually, but because we could use those to create like ID groups. But I'm just gonna do this like, I'm just gonna like YOLO it. So for now, basically, just bring it in, and because we have the timeline, we could actually decimate this. We'll do a decimate, and we'll just try to get it down to a reasonable poly count, and then in the history we can use that as the projection. So hopefully this isn't too slow. It might be too dense, so I'm just going to kill it and just check why. we're just gonna have to just go for it and just be patient. And just let it think about it. So once it's processed, we can take that, decimate it, and then store it, then do a Dynamesh to merge it all together, just so it kind of closes all the holes, and then Z remesh that. Because if we try to Z remesh it with all the kind of polygroups and split meshes still there, it'll just explode and it'll just go crazy. So while that processes, I'll load Marmoset. There we go, it's ticking. I need a faster computer. %. It's getting there. Found another great screenshot. Yeah, I actually think I could do like this kind of color scheme, give it a go. That's usually how I try to do it. I just try to look for like something of a theme and apply it. And sometimes it's random. It doesn't always come out how you expect. Or it just doesn't work. You just have to keep trying new things. It's interesting how his hair goes white, but it's normally dark. I wonder why. Oh, we're almost there. Alright, so now we can just estimate this down. Let's do like 800k. And that essentially is starting to lose some detail. So I just try to balance it. Maybe like 1200. So just balancing it until you find something right. It's okay to have like a little bit of noise actually. It adds like a little bit of fine texture. But that should be good. And then you can just control click in the timeline and it goes white. So it tells you it's stored the history. And so now I'll just do like a Dynamesh. I actually don't know what the scale is, so this could just look terrible. It's not bad actually. So it's trying to close like all the holes. Because like these meshes are still split to some degree. Because if you went to like polygroups and added auto groups, it would still have them there. Because we didn't store it in the decimation like process. But if you like trying to zero mesh, that's going to be a nightmare. So Dynameshing and merging everything together helps. But if we just increase resolution slightly, I think that kind of resolved some of the holes it was creating in there. And you can actually smooth this. It doesn't need to be like super accurate, but it's still creating some like holes, you see? If you just rerun it, it'll close it. So actually just, you could go down to deformation and just do like a smooth, just like a global smooth. And then probably like under geometry, just close hole. Modify topology, close holes. Let's see if we can do another decimate and get it down lower. It should run much faster now. Yeah, that's good. Because before it was trying to process like an 11 million subtool. Yeah, so this can bring it down to something like 50, maybe even lower. Let's give that a Dynamesh. Still getting some like garbage. I'm just going to inflate that slightly, just to like close it. Yeah, like some of these are going to be quite painful to deal with. So I'm actually just going to close it and then just re-Dynamesh it. So just using the inflate just to kind of close the cavity. There you go. Let's do the same here. Just close that. There we go. Just a little bit cleaner. have to sculpt a little bit. But generally, I think it's okay. I think this one's okay. These two. Not too much of like a problem. This is like super thin, so I'm just gonna thicken it. I might just sculpt it again, just to make it a little bit cleaner. There's a lot of like waste here, but we don't really see it. Not gonna worry about it. Okay, so now we'll do another one. Another like pre-process. And now we'll try to get it down to the target amount. So when we do it now, I'll be like maybe 10k. So try and get it down to a number that we want to use to handle the lowest subdivision. So here we can just say the same and just see remesh. And fingers crossed it produces something nice. That's not bad. It's a little bit high. So I wonder if I can pre-process it again. Try to get it down lower. Because we did it 10, maybe 5. Decimate. And then Z remesh. It's too low. Maybe just half. So in here, you can just keep going down. Just keep halving it until you get to somewhere reasonable. But this is dense, but it's given us like the good depth to the object. Otherwise, we're going to lose some of the shape. Yeah. But it's probably okay because we're still getting some form here. I don't want to deal with decimation. Just try and keep it simple. Yeah, that all looks interesting underneath. But now at least we can put some subdivision levels on, and then go to projection, and we can reproject that project history, which might be interesting. But let's see what it does, because it's super dense history, but it's doing it. So now we'll just project it on until we get to a level of detail that feels good. I might not take it all the way and then just do like the micro detail in Marmoset. That's not bad. Some of this needs a little bit of like smoothing, but you can just lower the intensity down, just give it a little. It's a bit jaggy. But I think we can just fix that up. And some of these pieces here, just kind of go down and just fix those. It's quite complicated. Some of these pieces are quite complicated, so. But it should be good just for like sketch. It doesn't need to be like crazy, and we're only going to render it from the front. So we're not really too worried about like what's going on here. Even though it actually did come out pretty clean actually, some of those pieces. Anyway, so that's like one piece. I wonder. Could probably do the polygroups. So probably for this at least, I'm probably just gonna paint it. So just with the mask, just kind of paint in the front. Could actually use the lasso tool just to get some of those deep bits. Gonna just go around the shape a little bit. Maybe. Probably on this back bit, just split that off. So just do like a mask. Done. Just so it finds a way to spread that a little bit more easily. Oh shoot, missed a bit. Just hide that. I'm just using Control W just to group it. Group visible. You could actually clean this and kind of go around with the shape a bit more. So just like, just paint in that with symmetry on. Got symmetry on. Just paint in that. You could even pull out the circle. Just get rid of symmetry. Get rid of that. Do the same again. Just something not super accurate, but it's just going to help when we do the UVs, just to create more islands. There we go. Yeah, so something like that maybe. Be nice actually to not have to put this on a separate island, but let's just see what it does. So go to Z plugins and then under here, UV master. I actually realized that you don't need to work on the clone now. So if you've got subdivision levels with sculpt, you can actually just go for it. I'll keep symmetry on because it's kind of symmetrical. Just YOLO it. So yeah, before you would have to clone the objects and then work on the clone, copy the UVs, bring it back, paste it. I realized you don't have to do that. You can just do it straight on the model, which is kind of cool now. Save to complete, like, it's a little bit of a hassle. So just being able to do it on your asset in the main scene is good, rather than working on a clone. Let's see what happens. probably just keep the references there, just to show where we're heading. Alright. I always like this because it feels like you're never quite sure if it was any good. It's okay. I mean, this face is completely split in a bad way. And we could use, like under here, you can like use existing UV seams or enable paint controlling. Yeah, that one needs the clone. I'm just going to leave it and just go for it and see how it looks. And if we do need to re-UV it, we can do it there. So now we'll work on this piece. So the same method as before. This one hopefully it won't take as long to process. So decimation master. Could try actually dynameshing it from the bat. I think that might be quicker, but it might destroy the details. That's the only problem. So it's faster, but so I'll just do it like 440. This is not too bad actually, because it's more smooth. It's lost a little bit of sharpness, but I think it's faster doing it like this. So 440, just try like something a little bit higher. Oh, that's not bad actually. Yeah, it's like half the amount of triangles we had. So then that's probably okay. So we'll do a pre-process on that. But yeah, ideally it could have kept the groups, the poly groups, and then used them to, you know, create IDs for texturing. Then we would have been able to select the pieces better. But I think just for the quick sketch, because it's mostly the same color, like the way we're gonna go with this kind of look. Just having this like material, it's all orange pretty much, and we'll do just paint some masks. Just kind of just go for it. Hopefully this doesn't take too long. Yeah, that one's much faster. So doing a Dynamesh first, if it's too high, then decimating it. That's much better, I think. I have to remember that one. I need to write that down. Alright, we're almost getting to the fun bit. So yeah, now that's finished processing, we'll do like, what was it, 800 before? Might be able to go a bit lower because it's maybe not. I'll leave it there. So yeah, mark it again, control click the timeline, and then we can do the decimation further, 10k. So we've still got like, where you can see where it's like grayed out, we've still got that, so we'll be projecting that. It's a really cool feature that I use a lot. So Zuri remesh that. Maybe we'll try the same. See what it does. It's too high, but it's pretty good. We'll just half it and see what happens. Do it again. I try to get the number to 10 because then it kind of divides up to 4 levels quite nicely. And if the number's higher than 10, when it divides up, it almost always it's kind of like this awkward too high level. So I try to do it at that. Seems to work for most things, depends on what you're doing, but for this I think this should be okay. So now we've got that, we can start projecting. Subtool, project history. Then one more. Computer's like, okay. Yeah, so that's pretty good. There's no major holes. So now we can just do what we did before. You know, actually, now we've got like this scene feeling good. I'm gonna save it because you never know. Save it. Okay, so yeah, I might just flatten this bottom, even though you don't see it. So a nice kind of handy way of doing it is with the gizmo, but I switch it back to the old school one, and then just make sure perspective's off, and then shift drag and make these kind of straight, and then just pull it up. So it just kind of flattens that out. It's a small detail, but I know it's there. So now we've got that, we can do the polygroups. So I'll just kind of slice this head piece here. Something like that, just create the angle. And then get the rectangle tool and just, well, it's a bit lame. Go up a little bit. Something like that. Oh, might just need to paint this. Just extend it a bit. Doesn't have to be like super accurate. Control W. Then just Control Shift click just hides it, and then Control Shift click drag can unhide it. I might do the same as I did with the circle masking tool, because then kind of just get like a nicer poly group. Yeesh. Let's do that. I just turned off symmetry. Yeah, we'll go with that. Just need to hide the other side. Doop. And Control Shift click, do the same. Something like that. Just get rid of that. Alright. And then the bottom, now we've like squished it. Turn perspective off so we can get a nice clean square. Mask rectangle. Something like that. So now, actually what we'll do here, get that group. Just clean this up a little bit. We'll remerge those back in. It's better. Probably gonna want to keep the front and the back split. Bowl. Just use the lasso. Maybe something like that. That'll be okay. Alright, and now we have those. Go back down to the lowest. And we'll just create some UVs. Crash. That was scarily quick. So go down to the UV map and just morph it. That's weird. It's weird that they put it there. It's like off. What I might do is just throw it in Blender and pack it. I haven't been able to find a better way of packing it inside Zbrush without having to go into like this beautiful thing. So yeah, we'll just, what I'll do first is just check the scale. So if you go to plugins and go to scale master, here, if we just slide us to subtool size, you can see it's 4mm. It seems to be 30, for whatever reason feels good for Marmoset. So I'll set it to 30 and then resize. And then afterwards I'll do a unify. So it just makes all the brushes work again. Because when it scales it up, it kind of bonks the scene. So now these brushes are like, kind of, they seem somewhat relative again. Just Zbrush. It's just strange sometimes. So I like to make a folder Marmoset, obj, and body. Low. So I start naming things in the convention for baking. So we'll bring this in. Can't see because of that. So we'll bring it in Blender just quickly. Wonderful. And then just super simple. Just see if it like packs it any better. Pack islands. Is it better? Doesn't feel it. Might leave it as is. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it. I think it's fine. Oh yeah, it's the wrong way. So yeah, we'll just go to transpose master. Just give it a rotate. So just do that. And now he's facing the same way as the head. There it is. So now we've kind of got it set up. So we've got the meshes, a low poly with UVs, and the history projected on to the subdivision levels. So we've got it all kind of set up, ready to go. So now, and we've got the scale right. So what I like to do is just go to like the lowest of each one, and we'll begin to pull it out. Sculpt. Just gonna pin it so I can get to it quick. And so now we can do like head low, and then we'll do the base. The base is what it is. Base low. And then over in Marmoset we can just check. So I'll get rid of that viewport. And we'll bring these in. And sometimes it might be like too high or too low, but it doesn't really matter, but sometimes I might fix that. So here I'll just select them all, bring them in. And then up here where the little cog is, we'll put the scale reference on. I might try to get the head just a little bit bigger. And we could raise it up, but so what I might do now is just go to Scale Master again. So just a quick sanity check before we start exporting the high polys. So that'll take a bit of time. So, and we could actually, this is quite nice, creating this bounding box. So here we can see like our dude inside, and I like to have the bounding box at the top because then when we save the scene, the top subtool, it takes the name of the scene and it doesn't rename one of these objects because that one's called like Cyber Skull. So now we can actually just rename to what it should be. But yeah, with the bounding box, we can just use that to set the scale. Because sometimes when you're like we selected just the base subtool and we put like sliders to subtool and it was like, oh, scale's weird. But we just want to scale the entire object and kind of relative. So now we can just use the bounding box. So it'll kind of handily create that and scale it to your objects in the scene. And then we can just do sliders to that. We can see it's 39, so maybe 50. Just a little bit bigger. Not like super big, but just a little bit. And then we can just export that. We could use like the subtool mask to export stuff, but I just do it manually because sometimes things just mess up. It's the head and the body, the base. Yeah, just a little bit bigger. Wonderful. And yeah, sometimes, you know, because it's exporting the groups in here, like under export, in preferences, you can kind of tell it to not do that. So it's just like export subgroups. So I might just turn that off because sometimes it just makes handling the object just a little bit more tricky with the materials. Okay. All right. Yeah. So I just merged the groups and just created one, just so we've got just the one mesh underneath. It's more of just like a bad habit that I like. I just like to keep everything as clean as possible. Thank you for the sub. So what we can do now is like create the bakes. And I usually like call it like baker. Let's put the head in. Create another one. Body. Baker. Low end and then create another. Base. Baker. And let's throw the base in. Save that. Okay. So now what we want to do is go to Zbrush and decimate these down. So go up to a high subdivision level and just make polymesh just so it's in its own thing. And I'll just decimate it. Just so that when we're baking it, that process can go a bit quicker. I think we're coming up to like the hour mark. So usually I try to block it, so I'll do like an hour. This is a bit more complicated and I'm kind of talking through it, so it's taking longer, but I'll try to do an hour of sculpting to get the model done, and then an hour processing and getting in Marmoset and materials. So sometimes I kind of try and block it in those hours. 250 maybe. That's good. So then I'll just export this out as the high. So body high. Then go back to our scene. Ooh. And make polymesh, just do the same. We could actually, while that's doing that, load in the for the body and put it into the high group underneath the bake group. For this one, I'm just going to duplicate it and put it in there. I can actually create the 3 texture groups as well. So head, text, body, text, base, text. And I don't know if it's a bug, but I found that if you go with the materials from Zbrush that it brings in, they just don't work properly. The like micro detail doesn't work. So I always create like fresh materials. Head, matte. And then you can just like drag it into here. Boop. So then it's linked like to like correctly. And then in the baker you want to just link it up. It's a bit of setup, but once you get used to it, it's not too bad. Body and base. I'll just jump back here and decimate this down to 250 again. Yep. That's the hat. All right, so we can bring that in. And then put that into the group. There we go. All right. So now we've got all the meshes set up. The only thing to do now is just to assign the materials because they're still not assigned to the objects. So just here, make sure that that's got the head. And I throw it on the actual, like in the outliner, or mesh list or whatever we call it, rather than in the viewport, because sometimes if these are split, you can miss it and it can cause some problems, some headaches. So here, body. Boop. Ooh, that one took a while. And then do the low on the base. Boop. Alright. So then here I can just like quickly just kind of temporarily test that everything's kind of done. Sometimes I make like a high just for giggles and put it on the high. Because then when you come to like just check, like I'll show you in a second, but go to the baker, group, hi, bring this in. Ooh, not like that. Do it on the object. Yeah, so like here now we've got this. If you just select the group, you can kind of just show it and hide it. You can see, okay, the high is good. Just as like a sanity. Like, okay, high is good. High is good. And you just put the low back on. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, so now we've got those. I usually set this to Marmoset. There's a subtle difference, but just because we're doing everything inside Marmoset, we're not going into another engine, so we don't need to worry about that. Put it to extreme, 64, 4K, and we'll link it up. So base, body, then stream, Marmoset, Marmoset, stream, 4K, head, 4K. So this is pretty much set up, ready to bake. So we'll go with just the head first. Just tell it where to go. Create a new folder for the textures. Head. Boop. And you can even just have a look, maybe. Seems okay. We could have cleaned up this, but just for the demo, just to show how this process goes. So that's good. And normally at the beginning I'll just do the normals. Just bake the normal map. And then once I know it like works, I'll bake everything else. So go to the body and set up the folder. Body, bake. That's good. And then base. I mean, I don't think the base is going to do much, but I'm just going to bake it anyway. Just in case, because then when we do like other things like curvature, thickness, yeah, it'll be able to calculate that and we'll be able to use it in the materials. Base, bake. It should just look the same. All good. Right, so now we'll just like run through and bake everything. So I usually do curvature, thickness, ambient occlusion, position. Don't generally use height, but it can be interesting. So we'll bake that. But because this object's quite dense, if you do displacement and then put subdivision on it, might be a bit slow. My computer's not the best. I wish it was better. So we'll just give that a moment. Just gonna close Blender and save this. Get rid of the rest. Alright, just check these. Not too bad. Let's bake the body. You can see the thickness is kind of doing something weird, like the scattering's a bit odd, but we'll fix that. One thing I noticed actually in here, like just as like a quickie for doing renders, if you set the, if you go to render settings and go to shadow and you set these like 32, 32, I think 4. Put floor on. It kind of renders a somewhat okay result. Like if you were just wanting to do quick renders, like this, it's not too bad. Like something like quick, it kind of softens the shadows enough. Like they're a bit rough here, so you could go a little bit higher, but sometimes I just do that for the rendering. So if you just want to do like a really quick render, like 32, 32, 4. If we put that up to 64, maybe it'll kind of just rectify some of the shadows a little bit, which is kind of nice if you want to just clean it up. But I think that render kind of isn't too bad, you know, from Zbrush. Alright, then we'll bake the base. We're almost at the good stuff. Yeesh, that looks strange. Get rid of the occlusion. So we're going to rendering it in with ray tracing anyway, so it'll kind of just drop all that weird occlusion. I think on the base it kind of reacted a bit strange. This cavity. Cavity was a bit odd. But you can see like on the body sometimes this is a bit too fake. Kind of feels a bit like old school. So, but we'll see how it kind of blends with the materials. So, and if your graphics card's better, you can just kind of do the whole process, but sometimes I switch it off ray tracing and just do some stuff. Drop the occlusion and the cavity down, just so I'm not like dealing with it too much, and just do the texture in like just normal viewport without ray tracing. But I'll leave it on for now. So just save that. So now we can start throwing some materials. So I actually think, looking at the reference, like this bake light is pretty close to this kind of material. And some of it's just like guessing, just throwing things on and see what works. But you can do it like kind of logically, where you build up the materials, the base bit by bit. So you could build up like the metal and then the plastic, and then create smart masks to kind of blend between them both. But what I like to do at the beginning, at least, is just kind of throw things on and just see if they look good. So now, like, because we've got the materials in here, you can see our materials and the layers. So like for the body, we can click that, and I just keep this crushed because I don't really care what's happening in the texture because I'm not really doing anything like production level, so you know, you can just start throwing these on. And just seeing what it does, and playing with the lighting as well, because it can make quite a different result. Yeah, just shift right click to just rotate it. So maybe something like that, and then on the sky I'll just drop the color, just drop it out, just give it something neutral, and then at least with this you kind of see what's going on. And then maybe I'll drop it on the head as well. But the base, I might do something different. Maybe on the actual platform, I'll just throw something random on for now. So what I like to do is just put something on, so you're just not looking at like this white thing. Just throw that on for now. Ugh. That looks very strange. Kill some of these things. I'm just going to go to the base material. Just dial some things off. So that looks very strange. Anyway, so we'll go to this. Maybe just put like a fill on and see what. Okay, so maybe this is that issue of the actual materials not assigned to everything. Oh, seems okay. Might just leave it like a kind of glossy material for now. So now we can switch back to these. What I do is, like, once you've got a material on all the objects, I'll just put some lighting in for now. So if you go to the sky and just reduce it down, the brightness, just so it's not so intense, and then you can create, just go to scene, add object, if I can do it, and then just add like a spotlight. But then if you go to just like the classic viewport, I'll split it and then make this camera the light, and that way you can kind of control the kind of the light in a little bit more easily. Then just click an object, Control F to focus it on that object. So now we can just get something a bit more like dramatic, maybe. And then on the light itself, if you select it, you can kind of tweak some of these. So make the edge of the spotlight less sharp and make it a little bit smaller. So you can see like right now, like the default is like it's got quite a sharp edge. So I usually just lower it, and actually sometimes I lower it like to 0.5 or like 0.2 just to make it even softer. So it fakes like a quadratic light. And then the diameter will soften the shadows. So if you make it bigger, you can see the shadows are quite hard. So just increasing the diameter will soften them. So you can kind of play with that a little bit. But I like to just put it in, put something in. Also, creating a camera. And then with the camera, put the safe frame on. And then under render, making it square, so it will kind of render kind of how you want it to be on Instagram or like social media. Just frame it up. Yeah, so I'll leave it at something like that, and then what you can do is just keep tweaking the sky. Because you kind of get like a different kind of reflection result, so sometimes it's nice to go just like a bit of back and forth, put a light in, and then go back to the sky and tweak it, just to see if you can get some bit more interesting like global illumination happening. So something like that, and then continue tweaking the texture. So let's see. So we just threw this on, but maybe you want the skull to be like gold. So like I had it before in my references, where I had like this gold look. Might be nice to keep that. So I could just like search gold here in the materials and see. So we've got like a couple of dips, maybe gold one, just throw that on. And then create a group. I'll call it like skull. And under that make another group. Just call it mask. And then put the mask on black, just so it's completely gone. And then we can just paint this. Just as you normally would, basically. And shift click if you want to do like some straight lines. There we go. And then just tweak that a little bit. Just gonna change like the roughness response slightly. I think that material will need to be changed quite a bit, but we can use it as a starting point. So here, just and then I'll do the teeth kind of silvery again. So yeah, let's have a look. Let's do like silver. Teeth. Mask. And make a paint mask black. Use a scattering creates this like strange border. So I'll fix that a bit later. Actually, you can just layer this under the skull, so I don't have to worry about like dealing with it being like super tight. So I can just kind of blend under. There we go. I might actually make some black rubber. This is like the base. So reducing the contrast, because this material has like this kind of like a texture to it, it can just reduce that. We don't want it. Still quite. There's still something in there, but it's more of a like a. Could leave it as an interesting detail. Let's fix some of this. Just a bit more shiny, just changing the roughness. Actually, because this is kind of tweaked a little bit now, you could just like copy that group. And just paste it into the other one. Right, let's do some kind of like rubber. And then we'll just mask it. What I might do is put the light under the sky so it rotates. Just whilst we're texturing, just to make it a little bit easier. Okay, do this side. I think you can actually go here and select the view of the island. So you can use that as like a starting point. Just like fill it. Boop. There we go. And then you can just keep painting. So now I might create like the yellow. There's like this yellow material you see here. So I'm going to create that next. But I'll just like duplicate this. I'll call it like red rubber. Control D and just slide this to like yellow. Yeah. And then same deal, just mask it. More painless. Thinking just like these little plates here would be nice. We'll put symmetry on. See if that helps. I'm not sure if I made this asymmetrical, so this could be a sad time. Yeah, maybe this is just a little bit too. Maybe like that. Something like that. And I think with this one I might just make it a little bit more. Make it like metallic, maybe. Nah. Maybe just a little bit shinier or a bit rougher. Maybe. It has this kind of like texture inside there, and it's doing triplanar on the projections, so I could maybe just increase that. So it just makes that detail a little bit more like dense. Make that a little bit like slightly rougher. I think what this needs now is like broken, like those broken bits of black. I don't know if it's oil. Looks almost like the goo, like that black goo. So maybe, yeah, this guy doesn't have it on him. So maybe he was that saturated at one point. Like they're super saturated and he's kind of less saturated. But I think like just putting some of this dirt on. So try and just find something maybe like this. And what's kind of nice about it is like when you put like this material on, I mean, it has some kind of like micro thing happening. We'll just turn everything off. So this base has something. So you can just like kind of scale it and get it right. So it's got like this kind of micro detail. So I like to just throw it on and see what it does. And then go through and tweak some of these because it will pick it up in the render. Like that one kind of just disturbs it too much, the dents. So I might just turn that off. does that look? Kind of interesting. But then what I like to do is with these groups, well, right now we've just been painting these masks, but what we can do is actually use generators through the masks. So if I put that on black, and then I can convert that layer using a processor. So from the bakes we did earlier, we can access these now, so we can use like curvature, and then that will just like pick it up and generate this kind of masking for us based on the high poly. So I think just like playing with this to get some kind of dirt running through it would be a nice start. I mean, it's obviously like too much, but you can kind of just get it so it's like on the like just the edges and like sharpen it up, make it even less. And then you can create like multiple masks on masks. So you can create another one for that. I'm just gonna save because sometimes it crashes. But here, yeah, we could do like a mask on top of this mask, and perhaps just convert that to something like a procedural, like maybe turbulence, and then put it on like a multiply. And so it's just affecting the white areas on multiply, and increase the scale, just so again like some kind of like breakup happening. You can make it like super big and get like tiny fragments. And then we can always just go back to the material itself and just tweak it slightly. Sometimes I just end up just on the base, just adjusting the opacity, just so you're getting like a little bit of something. So then maybe we'll add look for like mud. And just keep building things up. And like this one, the first one was like a bit more tight, and this one will make it a bit more broad. So not using the curvature, but maybe just like occlusion instead. So just see what this is doing. Just gonna get rid of the bump and the normal. It's kind of like nice, it's adding like a bit of texture and like interesting wetness. I think that layer can stay off. But yeah, create another layer, convert it, just do like occlusion this time. But it's like obviously way too broad, so Yeah, so this is getting some of that like breakup that's similar. Maybe it's a bit too splattered. What's nice actually is that it's kind of scattering it like in the right way, but the bump is going the wrong way. So, like I think this has the bump. And so you can kind of just redirect it. That still feels like it's going down, but maybe it's okay. Maybe it's like, feels like it's like kind of digging into it. And yeah, so you can just keep building the mask. So I like to just create multiple groups, do another mask, and then you can just kind of blend it so that the dirt's only coming from the bottom with the gradient, which is quite nice. And then just kind of paint it back in where you want it. What I do like doing, which I kind of do on all the models, is I'll create like a gold, and I'll kind of make it look like it's busting out. So I'll just take like gold leaf. It's a bit bumpy. Just reduce it down the contrast so it's a bit less bumpy. And then create another mask. And this I just like to like bump up the contrast. Just a little bit. What I might do is just group this, copy the group and paste it onto the head. And it kind of looks messed up, but I can put it on and get that like gold look straight away. I don't need the base. This this is that gradient. Just like delete the mask. The skull above it. And the teeth. So yeah, it's getting that kind of continuous look with the bottom. And then I usually do like another pass on the lighting. Yeah, just trying to find something reflective that's good for the gold. Because some of these, like when you put them on, they just look really flat and really strange. Oh, okay. And then just like kind of reduce it down. Actually, the background might be good. Try it in a shadow catcher. Just kind of create that fake floor. Can't see much with this current sky, but I'll put the light on. So I actually think I didn't put any of the scatter and stuff on yet, so I might just do that. So here I'll switch it from surface to volumetric, because it reacts much nicer. That looks very interesting. Let's see. So the scattering's, it's like doing what it should, but there's something happening in this material. So we'll just go through it one by one and shut it off. Yeah, so it's just really, really dark. So you can see like it's kind of like softens that look, but I think it'll be nice to have just like a little bit. Just a little bit of scattering. So we'll copy that. I actually might change the gold. I might just make it rubber. Hey man. Thanks, piano. I want the gold to work, but I don't think it does. Like on the skull. So I think I'm going to get rid of it. But yeah, on this mud, I think that just needs slightly tweaking now. It'd be nice for it to have like a really, kind of like a little bump, like a really fine bump. So sometimes, just to get that detail, I'll you can just like pick up another material that has something similar. Well, you could create your own, but just for this, I'll just kind of look for something. This carbon fiber actually might be quite nice on some of the body parts, but for the skull or the helmet at least. Let's see what we can put on it. It's going to be too sharp. Too strange. Yeah, maybe we should rust it as well. Like give it some rust. Maybe something weird like that. So yeah, you can just use it, put it on, but just dial everything off and just keep like the normal and the bump. and it's added that like the texture, which is quite nice. Kind of creates like this weird look, even though it's like skin. And then you can use the triplanar just to make it smaller if you want, maybe like 2. So it's nice and tiny, but it just adds like a nice bit of detail. Might just change the lighting a little bit. Yeah, so I don't know if the background works, but I'm just going to hide it for now. Yeah, I was just comparing it to the reference. I'm just thinking whether, because they just keep it kind of like a red. Just kind of like cool. I might just add like, I might dial the dirt down. I think it's a bit too much. But yeah, I'll go to the sky and just kind of drop it back to color. And then here, like on the lights, what's quite nice, I'll make sure it's out of that group. I'm sensing a crash is going to come. So I'll just call this one key, and then just Control D. Just maybe add like a rim or something. And they add like, I'll use temperature to make it like slightly orange. Maybe the blue's better. But like the highlights are all like orange. I might just do something like similar. Maybe I can go to the next line. With this camera as well, what I'll do is I'll make this field view, just increase it so it makes it a little bit more photographic. I'm gonna get rid of that mud. It's bothering me. It's just a bit too much. I think it just needs like this variation, kind of moving around. Yeah, it's this one. So yeah, maybe small is a bit better. Yeah, I think on this group I'm just going to paint it. Like paint it out in some areas. Might actually, they have like a shiny red kind of ball in the center of the head. I might just add that to the eyes. It's quite nice. It's almost like metallic. So I might just like take some aluminium, just throw it on the head. And then just color it. Yeah, different workflow. Do black there. Yeah, I'm just gonna like paint it in here. Might be able to mask it slightly. It's kind of weird. Don't know if I like it. Maybe I'll make it non-metallic and then just have it like shiny. Just so there's some material difference happening. Yeah, I think that's all good. Yeah, then switch some of these things on. If we can do something like some of the materials I've created like some custom ones, like the one I did for the Zelda mask. So when you go to like smart materials, I think I kind of have it saved. Yeah, like this. I'm just gonna throw it on and see what it does. kind of interesting kind of like result. So I'm just gonna get this set up to render. Yeah, what I like to do with the lion is switch this off and kind of build it back up and see if there's something that needs a tweak. So maybe this key. So you can go back to just the key. Key 1. And it might be like it's just a bit too broad. Gonna put some depth of field on. And maybe with the rims just tweak them slightly. Good if I put them on. But yeah, maybe with the sky I'll just make it like red. Like an off red. It's probably okay. And then, yeah, just up the resolution. I usually do it at 2 or 4. And then just check it's on the main camera. To put the camera 1 on. And, yeah, I'm not going to bother with the shadow catcher. Maybe just a little bit. Give it a go. Yeah, there's probably a lot more you could do with like all the different elements, like breaking the material up, but like just as an idea, I'm gonna pause it. Yeah, so you can just see it, just picking it up, like a little bit of detail. And then what I usually do is just add a bit of volumetric. So here, I can just take like the orange or something like that, just something. Kind of adds this like layer of dust. And then sometimes just darken the bottom. But it's quite dark already, so maybe it's okay. And then what's pretty cool is you can use the color lookup charts here and just run it through just to see if it kind of punches it slightly differently. Like I feel like with this is picking up those highlights a bit nicer. So then you can just like use the mask and then just paint it in. Maybe just a little bit there. And then just dial it down a little bit. Just like a little bit of detail. Think our other image is done. Why does it want to do that? It's better. Yeah, then the light was slightly off. So I'm gonna re-render that. Maybe get a little bit brighter. And I like to just keep trying them, because sometimes like with the different colors you can get like a different result that you can blend in, which is quite nice. Like some of them, that almost like brings up those darks a little bit, which is nice. So I'll just brush it in slightly. Let's have another look at this next image. Yeah, it's a little bit nicer. Let's just paste it in. Create a new one. Do one more. Alright, last one. almost tempted to just fade bottom out. I did get a camera. I just thought 'cause this was more of a tutorial, it might be a little bit more easier, personable. I'm gonna cut this down later so people can just see the important bits rather than me just rambling on. Keep it. I think it's better without it. I am now just staring at this image, trying to think what to do. See if we can punch it. The film stock color lookup's pretty good actually. Like just for like kind of creating a bit more contrast and interest. Because when you're rendering in Marmoset in the camera, you can add it in. You can add in the, because it's just linear, which is like a little bit bland. So you can kind of put ASIS on or Reinhard, or you can like put the S curve in, like here. You kind of do it there if you want. But I prefer to render it linear and then do the post here, so I have a bit more control. So yeah, like I'll just add a little bit in. And maybe just fade it to the bottom. But yeah, I think I'm gonna call it for this guy at least. Yeah, no problem. EXI. EXI. Yeah, that's weird. Wow. I am terrible at pronunciation, so I'm really sorry. There we go. Yeah, just a quick one. But yeah, I'll cut this down and post it, and hopefully that helps people. I'll see you guys in the next one.